night of the year, and we will join at Christmas the song of hope and joy that finds its theme at Christmas in every girl and boy. The flame of life will dwindle as fades the sunset sky, until a child shall kindle new light and raise it high.
We gather this morning on this cold, snowy morning in joy and hope, in love and peace, in goodwill to all, in the spirit of Christmas. The present of your presence here with us today blesses us beyond measure. Come, let's celebrate Christmas together.
Our chalice sliding words today come from Cynthia Landrum, a UU minister in Clark Lake, Michigan. In the bleak and cold winter, we gather ourselves in to light the fire and to warm our spirits, to kindle the flame of love and hope. This morning, Jeff Lensman has agreed to help light our chalice. Please join the words in your order of service. We light this
chalice for the warmth of love, for the light of truth, and the energy of action.
Thank you, Jeff.
Welcome to what we're doing this morning. Now, we call this service the present of our presence, and that's more poignant than I would have ever dreamed when we were playing with that. And here comes Craig and Sarah. And welcome to, people are kind of silhouetted. Welcome, glad you're here today. And I'm glad the Styleses have arrived from Layton. And so the present of our presence. And Merry Christmas, Cameron. So the idea behind this, the little play on words, since our December theme was presence, is that indeed we are present in our bodies. We are incarnated beings. We are made flesh, each and every one of us. And what we do every single day is important and is reflective of this marvelous body that we have. This body that is inextricably linked with our minds, but also our spirits. It's all one piece. And so this morning, rather than a full-up sermon, what we're doing is having a collection of readings, some poetry and some prose, from a variety of sources, but primarily Unitarian Universalist sources, that will help us understand more about our presence on this Christmas day and on every day of the year. And also, it is our present to you from the worship team to be doing this. There are several members of the worship team that are participating this morning. And so the way this is going to work today, because you'll see in your order of service, things are a little vague. It just says the present of your presence. Doesn't say anything about a sermon or musical reflection or whatever. And that's because you'll note some of you have boxes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to randomly open a box, and you're going to call out the reading that you have listed in your box. So just call out the title and the author and who it's going to be read by, and that person will pop up here magically and read for you. And so this is just so we have some presents to open this morning as we gather. So anyone can start, and the only exception is Brandon, and he's going to get a special cue for his. Yeah, you are. I'll let you know when the time comes. So, just anybody, just somebody pick, look in your box and just call it out.
Christmas Once by W. Waldemar Argo, to be read by Jeff Linden.
Great.
Oh.
You can, no, come on up. I have it up here, but you've got your own copy, which is great.
Okay, Christmas Once by Benjamin Waldemar Argo. And a little bit about the author. He was actually a German Baptist minister when he first started as a younger man. Born and raised in Dayton, Ohio, and his parents were from Eastern Germany, where they came before 1890. What do you want for Christmas? Of a truth, the answer to precious few questions serves so completely as a clue to the mystery of the human heart. At other times of the year, we may dissemble and make believe, but at Christmas, our true nature reveals itself, and we act from the hidden motives that dominate our lives. Come with me this blessed Yuletide season, and let the heart confess those wishes it has longed for, but never dared express. What is it we truly want? I want a few faithful friends who understand my loneliness and who make it less, not by what they say, but simply by what they are. I want a growing capacity to appreciate and respond to the uncomplaining suffering of others, knowing that they fight as hard a battle against the odds as ever I do. I want a mind unafraid to travel, though the trail is not blazed, and a heart willing to trust, even when faith seems the most unreasonable of efforts. I want a sense of duty, tempered with compassion, a conception of work as a privilege, an instinct for justice tempered with mercy, and a feeling that responsibility is my debt for the opportunity of living in a day when great ends are at stake. I want tasks to do that have abiding value, that make my life a lot better and the world a little brighter. I want a sense of humor, including a sense to laugh much, often at myself, the grace to forgive and the humility to be forgiven, the willingness to praise and the capacity to respond to greatness and glory. I want a glimpse of verdant hillsides, the never-resting sea, the horizon-seeking plains, and the sound of a bird lifting my spirits higher than any bird can fly. I want a few wistful moments of quiet, amidst the raucous noises and feverish fret of the day, and when twilight descends like a benediction. I want a sense of an abiding and eternal reality whose other name is God.
Thanks, Jeff. Okay. Random. Who's next? Please pull out one of your...
You have to know your body as the home of God by Rebecca Parker, to be read by Reverend Shelley.
Rebecca Parker is a Unitarian Universalist and Methodist theologian, and she was the president of Star King School for Ministry for over 25 years. You have to know your body as the home of God, and this is the purpose of Christmas. The rose blossoming in the wilderness is the unfolding of your pleasure as the fingers peel an orange and sweetness buds in the mouth. The bright star in the night sky is the sudden clarity of your instinct for joy. The birth cry in the night is your child falling into the dark in your arms holding her. The terror of Herod's murderous intent is your rage that you would prefer death to change. The singing angel is your voice at church, not sure of the tune, but certain for a moment that there is glory. The animals breathing their warm breath in the fragile stable are your emotions, kneeling into the body of earth at ease in the presence of God. Mary is you, God in your body. Joseph is you, sheltering God in the world. This is the key to the mystery. The Word became flesh. We are the dwelling place. Okay, next.
Christmas Lies, to be read by Sarah and Craig Stiles.
Great.
Christmas lives in those adults who, in the midst of the annual stampede for goods, remember that caring is the greatest gift, who through the tinsel and the trappings can still be patient enough to share the simple delights of the season, and who can teach the children to value one over the other.
Christmas lives in those who carry the burden of some great disappointment or some secret sorrow, and yet struggle to radiate a little cheer to those whose afflictions may be even greater.
Christmas lives in those who are bound by preoccupation and fear of involvement, who yet are working to learn how to share themselves.
Christmas lives in persons of great learning who understand that knowledge is not all, and that without involvement and action, there is little hope that learning will bring good to the family of humanity.
Christmas lives in those who, possessing all, sense that power and wealth mean little unless they are used to serve. For unto those to whom much is given, from them much will be expected.
Christmas lives in those who, living in a powerful and prosperous nation, remember that Jesus did not come to bless the complacency of the powerful or the selfishness of the prosperous, but to set people free.
Christmas lives in those in the slums and ghettos of the world, afflicted by poverty, who, in spite of the misery, dare to expect that the future for their children may somehow be better.
Christmas lives in those who in distant lands suffer daily under the affliction of wars which they do not understand, and devastation which threatens all humanity, and yet dare to believe that this senselessness will pass, and to hope that their children will live, simply stay alive, to grow up in a world of peace.
Christmas lives in those who, while others pray for peace and work for war, have the courage and patience to thirst after righteousness and to commit themselves to the great task of creating a world of peace and justice for the whole family of humanity. On a tablet in a small English church are inscribed words of praise for a man, whose singular praise it is to have done the best things in the worst of times and hoped them in the most calamitous. So it is that out of darkness we burst into light. So it is that despair is overcome by the radiance of joy. May Christmas come alive in you, within me, within us all, each and every one.
Thank you, Craig and Sarah. Who's next with your random boxes out there?
Christ Climbed Down by Lawrence Ferlinghetti, to be read by Reverend Shelley.
Lawrence Ferlinghetti was one of the beat poets and also proprietor of the City Lights bookstore in San Francisco, which was a haven for poetry and alternative thinking in a time in the 50s and 60s and beyond, and when some of those points of view weren't as popular. And so I bring you Christ Climbed Down. Christ climbed down from his bare tree this year and ran away to where there were no rootless Christmas trees hung with candy canes and breakable stars. Christ climbed down from his bare tree this year and ran away to where there were no gilded Christmas trees, no tinsel Christmas trees, no tinfoil Christmas trees, no pink plastic Christmas trees, no gold Christmas trees, no powder blue Christmas trees hung with electric candles and encircled by tin electric trains and clever cornball relatives. Christ climbed down from his bare tree this year and ran away to where no intrepid Bible salesman covered the territory in two-tone Cadillacs and where no Sears Roebuck crushes, complete with plastic babe in manger, arrived by parcel post, the babe by special delivery, and where no televised wise men praised the Lord Calvert whiskey. Christ climbed down from his bare tree this year and ran away to where no fat, handshaking stranger in a red flannel suit and a fake white beard went around passing himself off as some sort of North Pole saint crossing the desert to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, in a Volkswagen sled drawn by rollicking Adirondack reindeer with German names and bearing sacks of humble gifts from Saks Fifth Avenue for everyone's imagined Christ child. Christ climbed down from his bare tree this year and ran away to where no Bing Crosby carolers groaned of a tight Christmas and where no Radio City angels ice-skated wingless through a winter wonderland into a Jingle Bell heaven daily at 8:30 with midnight mass matinees. Christ climbed down from his bare tree this year and softly stole away into some anonymous Mary's womb again, where in the darkest night of everyone's anonymous soul, he awaits again, an imaginable and impossibly immaculate reconception, the very craziest of second comings. Okay, we've got another box or two out there.
Christmas is Subversive by Kendall Gibbons, to be read by Renee Quick Ratchford.
One of the great things about Christmas is that it's a sturdy holiday. Christmas doesn't wimp out when times are hard. It comes anyway, even if there are hardly any presents, even when there isn't much food to make a feast with, even if you're sad, even if the world around you is at war, even if you are living in fear and danger and oppression, Christmas still comes. And when it comes, Christmas is subversive. Christmas, with its story of an unwed mother and a doubtful father, with its legend of a helpless baby born in a stable, who was worshipped by some of the wisest, richest men in the world, with its tale of a child pursued by the deadly wrath of kings, who escaped as a refugee to a foreign land far from home. Christmas, with its ancient, enduring summons of peace. Goodwill to all people everywhere. You can't stop a day like that with a little hardship or greed or injustice. It will show up anyway, shining the light of a midnight star into the darkest spaces of our collective hearts. Do not underestimate the power of a manger and the hope it holds. The Christmas song of the angels is not as innocent as it sounds. It has turned the world upside down before now. It still can.
And thanks, Renee. Another box out there to be opened.
I opened this one. It's Still by J. Rod Garrett, to be read by J. Rod Garrett.
All right, all right. Come on up, J-Rod. We've got an attempt.
Still, one can hear the falling snow, for all is hushed, the world is sleeping, holy star, its vigil over. I can't do this. I can't pretend again. This Christmas cheer makes me smile. When Aleppo is writing letters in preparation for their own burial, the Philippines have children gunned down because someone said they used drugs. Trump's legions rebrand hate as money, and the security of the few outweighs the liberty of all America. Love has been still. And I am no less guilty of causing that than you are. Still. The world isn't asleep, nor at peace. For the sound of falling snow, we have forgotten. Sleep. 'Tis the eve of the end of our sleep. I know I believed in a child in a manger who grew up to save a world, but I can't care about him today. He's not here. And we have the power to shape this world in the image of love. What does that look like, do you ask? Offering gifts of holding hands, meditation and prayers together, speaking up and speaking out against the things which look to cut out our tongues. I know that may sound morbid. I know because I've done that work. Forgive me, for I knew not what I did, and now I cannot sleep, even though we are tired. Exhaustion will dawn long before the sun. Dream of a day where we stand as one. No more us versus them. We must stick our swords in the flames of the forge and do the work to become we and us. No, this doesn't mean that we'll all agree with one another, but but give it a moment to change how we approach the problems in our world. I cannot ignore our problems. We cannot ignore our problems. Our homeless, our veterans are just as precious as the civilian homeless. The bruises of children aren't more painful than those of adults. This is why we don't step on lives, because you don't want to be better than someone else. Dream of liberation, a world that is peace, not because of songs of kumbaya, little drummer boys, or a grand old flag. Dream, dream, dream of the power of holding hands, warming hearts, and standing together against the living night. Wake, wake, wake. In the silence of the night, you may have heard winter is coming. That's wrong. Look outside. Winter is here. And we can only change that when we look past our religious, political, and ideological differences and consider what we are willing to give up to see one another. Because this Christmas, Yule, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, holiday season, New Year, all I want to share is the bleeding heart that beats in my chest for you. And maybe that's what all the songs are trying to tell us. Most celebrations are wars, the bullets fly, our love bleeds on one another, and like a raid, we put syringes into our arms and withdraw all the brutality we've suffered. In this place, I plead for us to wake, 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 to the beauty inside each other and within yourself.
Thank you very much, J-Rod. So I believe we have another box out there. Okay.
Might be it. Christmas Cult by Douglas Gallagher, to be read by Sarah Stiles.
Cults have a strange way of popping up. We're probably all familiar with the so-called cargo cults of the South Pacific, for example. Islanders who had never seen airplanes were amazed when these giant birds thundered out of the sky to deposit technological treasures. Presto, a logical development was a cult to woo these creatures to their shores to bestow more blessings. There's a story about a not dissimilar cult which also arose in the South Pacific during World War II. On a small tropical island, an airstrip had been built. The support personnel, because of the pragmatic and enlightened leadership of their commander, made every effort to both participate with island natives and to invite the islanders to participate with them. The chaplain, like all the rest, did so. He participated in their festivals and made a sincere, if slightly chauvinistic, attempt to get the islands to participate in his. Clearly, there in the South Pacific, so far from home, the Christmas season was particularly difficult for the military personnel. So the chaplain started earlier than Macy's with Christmas preparation, including the islanders, who responded enthusiastically. Everyone exchanged gifts, sang the old carols, and told the old stories. Shortly after New Year's Day in 1944, the Americans moved on, their air base no longer being strategically located. Many years later, in March 1957, that same chaplain made a stopover on his way to the Philippines. He took a nostalgic tour of the once too familiar island and happened to run into an old woman he had known during the war. She was going to church, as the officers soon discovered. She was late, but wanted to visit more, so she invited the chaplain to go with her, so that later they could continue their tour together. The church was an outdoor circle. The singing was, "O come all ye faithful," O Little Town of Bethlehem, and Silent Night. The sermon was a recounting of the Christmas story, and the service ended with everyone exchanging gifts. The Christmas cult. Every week, more or less, most often more, they celebrated Christmas. That was the only celebration they had learned from the Americans. That's what they thought the American religion was all about. If only that were true. To make the season of sharing, the season of love and hope and glad tidings live all through the year isn't a bad idea at all. May it be more often for us. May we take that spirit of Christmas, this spirit of sharing and love and hope and glad tidings, and make it live. May ours be a Christmas cult.